as time grew on, we had these people that came down on the farm and worked with us, Harry Dickens and Lex Kemp and Oak Dickens and all the farm hands that worked down on the farm. They all just seemed like uncles to me and everything. One of the funny guys that we had, during the war, it was real hard for Daddy to find anybody to work. And there was a guy one time, they called from over at Elmwood and said, "Mr. Bill, we've got a fellow over here that is looking for a job, a great big strong boy." Daddy said, "Lord of mercy, I'll come over and get him right now." Well, he went over and got him, and this fellow had escaped from the mental asylum down at Nashville. His name was Lama, and Lama could do anything you told him if you stood right over him and showed him exactly how to do it. And the funny part about it, he could read and write a little bit, and what he would do is he would send off and order all these seed on the back of a funny book. You could order so many seed, and if you ordered so many, you could win a bicycle, or you could win something. And Mama would have to meet the mailman to get the seed, and send them back. She didn't want the seed. But the funniest thing he would do is he would send off to the Lonely Hearts Club and sign Daddy's name to it. So these women would be sending Daddy their name and all about them for looking for a Lonely Hearts husband. So Mama, of course, would have to head that off. But Lamar, he finally left us, and somebody said he ended up in Nashville and survived. Some of the other guys that lived there on the farm was Buster Martin, and Buster was sort of related to Mama a little bit. Her Amy Beasley's name was Martin. And so somewhere back was related. Daddy on Monday night would go to Carthage and play poker with all the guys. And we had a cow that jumped the fence down into a tobacco patch that was covered with clover. Now, clover is a legume, and if a cow gets in and eats too much of that, they will swell up and they'll become bloated, and they will die. And so Buster came to the house and said, "Miss Neal," said, "Old cow got over here and is bloated. She's about down, and said, I'm afraid she's going to die." And so Mama called Daddy and said, "Bill, this is what's happening. It's what to do." And says, "Well," said, "get a corn cob and rub it with lard and get a string and tie the string around it and put it around behind her ears and put the cob in her mouth, and then get her up and start leading her around and making her walk, and just keep her walking and walk her. And she'll expel that gas." And so that was about 5 o'clock, in the afternoon. About 9 o'clock at night, there was a knock on the door, and Mama went to the door, and Buster was there, and said, "What is, Buster?" And he said, "Miss Neal," said, "do you care if I get a saddle and ride that old cow? Says she's been running for about the last 35 or 40 minutes, and I can't keep up with her anymore." Mama said, "Buster, I believe she'll be all right from now on." So anyway. Another guy we had there was Harry Dickens. So Harry was out disking that lot there, on the other side of the graveyard. And Mama and Harry's wife Frances were upstairs papering. And old walls in that old house were 12 feet high, and to paper it was a job for women. And so Daddy was downstairs reading the paper as usual. And so Mama was down and says, "Will, come up here and help us paper." And so he came up, and he helped them with a couple of rolls of paper, and he said, I'll be back in just a few minutes." And so he went down, and so he went out and told Harry, "Harry, get off the tractor. I'm going to swap jobs with you." And Harry said, "Well, okay, Mr. Bill." So Harry got off the tractor, and Daddy got on the tractor. So after a while, Daddy never did come back upstairs to help with the wallpapering, and Mama goes downstairs, and Harry's down there, got a newspaper, his feet propped up on the mantel. He's sitting there reading the newspaper. And Mama said, "Harry Dickens, what in the world are you doing?" He said, "Well, Mr. Bill come out there a while ago and said he wanted to swap jobs, and said I thought this year was his job, and I swapped with him." So that was Harry's idea. So we had an old boy there named Hobson Bush. Hobson was a veteran, and Hobson needed to go have all his teeth pulled and everything at Veterans Hospital in Murfreesboro. He didn't have any clothes, he didn't have any pajamas, didn't have any long johns, didn't have anything. So Daddy went to Carthage and got him all that, overalls and pajamas, socks and shirts and everything. So it was time to come to take Hobson to Murfreesboro Hospital. And so Hobson came down and he stayed out there in the yard, and Daddy said, well, Hobson, you ready to go? And he said, yes, sir, I'm ready. And he said, well, where's your suitcase? And he said, I ain't gotten there. And he said, well, where's your bag? And he said, I ain't gotten there. And he said, well, where in the hell's all them clothes I bought for you? He said, I got them on. So it was middle of summer. God, he had everything on. But